Hello, my Jessica creators. Lilu here. I'm in Glasgow, in Scotland today at the I Can Do It conference with Kyle. Hello, Kyle.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm excited that we were able to make this happen and sit down and have this conversation on angels.
Yeah, and a very cool industrial background as well. So it works, definitely.
I've noticed that you like this industrial look because I've seen the cover of your book.
Yeah.
That is called The Angel Whisperer because you are an angel whisperer.
Yes, yeah, or the Angel Whisperer in the UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm from a shipbuilding town, so the industrial looks very important to my roots. For me, definitely, I like to kind of push it out there.
I love the accent.
Oh, thank you very much. I like yours as well.
Thank you. You were considered as the youngest UK professional, psychic professional at 16. You were already super young.
It was very young. It was probably far too young when I look back at it now, but it was definitely part of what I call my training. You know, it was that moment where I needed to be out there very young to kind of get a taste for it. But I did, in between then and now, have a 2-year break where I studied music. Just to kind of bring myself back as well.
I heard you're a DJ too?
Yeah, I DJ house music as well. I DJ in Glasgow and different places.
So how does that fit with the angel readings?
It doesn't really fit. I think that's the coolest thing about it. It was more, my parents decided that I needed to have something to ground me. And my dad was a DJ as well. And he just said, why don't you go and study music for a while and see how you get on? And it was really good for me because it helped me find myself so that then I could help others do that as well.
Yeah. So this happened all to you at a very early age because at the age of 4, you all of a sudden start having conversation with angels, and this is related to your grandma. Could you explain us? Because this is very, very young.
Yeah, so the first experience with heaven for me was more when I was 4. My grandmother and I had this amazing connection. She had cancer, lymphoma, believe it or not, we heard about yesterday, and she was in a wheelchair. And at the same time, I contracted a virus called Guillain-Barré, and I was paralysed in a wheelchair as well. So to make things easier for my mum, who was the carer for both of us, we shared a wheelchair. I sat in her lap. And everywhere she went, I went too. And we had this almost soulmate bond, this amazing bond. And the evening that she was moving home to heaven, a neighbour was looking after me. And I woke up with her tickling my back. And my health naturally improved, whereas hers declined and she had to go home, as I call it home. But she tickled my back for the night. And when I told my parents about it the next morning, it was a complete mystery how that I seen my grandmother. Right. And that was like, from that moment for me, it was like my sensitivity increased. Everywhere I went, I felt things.
But you didn't shut down. That's a very important thing to speak about because a lot of parents don't have the same reaction with their kids because it happens quite often to kids, from my understanding, that we are very much in touch with that world.
Yeah, I think that if you think about being an adult, we are brought up and we've got experience and we are almost taught to believe what we can see. And children have this real sensitivity, this kind of innocence about them where they will believe everything if they can see it as well. But the thing is, nobody can tell them what's right or wrong in very early ages of their life. So to see angels and maybe other spiritual beings is just completely natural to the sight. Whereas when we grow up, we're taught to, no, that's not right. That's maybe unusual. Whereas at the start of my book, I've said, encourage kids. You don't have to set up a table at a psychic fair and tell them to do tarot readings, but you can encourage their sensitivity to believe in a higher power to support them rather than anything else. Yeah. So I'm very encouraging of people expressing their sensitivity, but I also know that there's a very concrete world out there where we have to look after ourselves. And I think that's what a lot of parents do. They just want their kids to be safe. Yeah. But we're trying to make this world a bit more safer to speak about maybe spiritual things.
So what is your view on angels? How do you see the world of angels? How does that appear to you? How did it started? How did this change over time?
Angels for me, I'll tell you what I see them like. I see them as just divine beings of light. So the only way I can describe it is the old movie Cocoon. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like this outline of a human being, but filled with light. That's the way I see angels. But I've also seen physical angels where they have, my angel looks like Obama. That's the only way I can describe him. But 7-foot Obama, right? Slightly darker skin. And one morning I woke up with this 7.5-foot man standing by my bed. head. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? And, the being looked at me straight in the eyes and didn't change, didn't move, didn't speak. I just seen them and I kept going, as you would do, and they didn't disappear. So I went for my shower as normal, and I came back to my room and they were still there. And it was so funny because that day I actually had a phone call from a national newspaper saying if I would like to write an angel column for them. So it was like my angels were there like, we've got some work to do.
Now it's time.
Now it's time to shine. So
'Cause you do work on a regular basis and you're a columnist, huh?
yeah, I write a column for the Scottish Sun, and it's so funny. The reach is 440,000 every week. So it's amazing to be able to have this opportunity to share my insight to angels. And I always make it clear that I'm not trying to convert anyone into this angel feather cult, but more just to open their minds to see that there's more out there than that meets the eye. Definitely.
How are those communications, and how do you receive this information?
About the angels. A lot of the time, I get really vivid dreams. I have really powerful dreams, but I just kind of know things. That way you just know something. It's almost like it's just planted in my head, this idea, and I share it, and it seems to be most of the time correct.
Mm-hmm. And it's more angels now than ever, or is it kind of you're surrounded by other beings and you have also developed your own kind of guidance, and it's not so much how did that evolve? Because I'm very interested in the evolution of it, because I guess we're all on the path.
Yeah, for me, over in Scotland, spiritualist churches are very, very big and popular. And I went to a spiritualist church very, very early on to develop mediumship and to communicate with deceased loved ones rather than just angels. But then I found that because they didn't do a lot of angel communication, I had to go and find my own way. So I felt like the spiritualist route was really great because it gave me this firm foundation where what was respectable, what was diplomatic, what you could put out there. And then what I just did was incorporate my knowledge of angels, which it doesn't only stem from my own kind of experience. I go for traditional background of angels. So I kind of pull from all different ways and share different ideas for people to use in their life. So I always say to people, there is no correct way of doing it. If it feels right for you, then it's right for you. Definitely.
So let's get in the practical aspect of it. I am sure you've asked very, very often, how can we communicate with angels? Are we all able to do this? Is it a skill that or a talent that we can develop, or only for some of us?
I believe that each and every single one of us has one or more angels with us. So absolutely we can all speak to them in some way. Everyone does it in a very, very different way. But one of the statements that I teach people and give people to take away with them is this very simple statement that you say and then watch for the signs and the presence of angels in your life. And it's thank you, angels, for reminding me of your presence. Very simple. Thank you, angels, for reminding me of your presence. And what we're doing here is, instead of saying, please tell me you're there, please give me a sign, we're not in fear. We're just trusting that they're going to show us their presence to us. So thank you for reminding me of your presence, angels. Something like that, and you will feel them. And we're going to do that with the auditorium today. And I'm going to do an experiment where I'm going to ask them to email me in the next couple of days to see what they've felt or what they've seen. But there's angels everywhere. Yeah. People walking by and everything, their angels are there. And yours too.
They're big ones.
Huge. Absolutely massive. The only way I can describe angels are like elongated humans. They're very big and they have this amazing thing about them where, when we look at someone and we kind of look them up and down and we'll check out what they're wearing without even realising it. When I've met an angel or when I've seen an angel, the one thing they do is they just look at us with unconditional love. Yeah. No judgment. Just look at us and see pure potential and love inside us, and I think that is amazing. So a lot of the time when I see angels very close up, I can't handle the emotion. It's beautiful.
Can they help us when we have doubt and choices to make in life? We feel something is wrong, but we don't have a proof. Can they help us to really bring solidity or tangible things also?
There's another statement that I use often, which I'll tell you, is whenever in doubt or you're unsure about a decision or a situation in your life, I always say this: thank you, angels, for revealing to me what I need to know.
Are you ready to know?
Yeah. So, it's what I need to know. And I think that's really, really important because so many of us want to hear what we want to know or what we'd like to hear. But sometimes the angels are very upfront and they'll just tell us the truth. But it'll avoid a lot of heartbreak. And I think that's amazing. So whenever in doubt, just say, thank you, angels, for revealing to me what I need to know. And trust the first thing that comes into your gut. And it's like, okay, I need to change something here. So that's what I do.
And they can support in their energy or when a communication is needed, really anything.
Yeah, definitely. But there's all different kinds of things. One of my favorite cases is a lady came to me just being...
And some of those are in there.
Yeah, this one isn't in there because it might be in a future book. But a lady came to see me one time who sat down and her angels told her that she had a sister that she never knew about. And she didn't believe it when I first said it. I said, the angels are telling me you have a sister. And her other sister in Canada at the time had went to a medium as well who said something very, very similar. And I asked the angels in heaven for more information on it, and they pinpointed on a map where she would be, and gave me this real backstory and the names of the people included in the situation. And we did a bit of investigating into it, and she actually found her sister, who was born and sold on the black market in Scotland and then taken to New York. And I pinpointed exactly where in New York that should be found with the help of the angels. And I think that's amazing that even if you don't know what you're going to ask, when you say, thank you for revealing to me what I need to know, like she did that time, the angels revealed to her that she had a sister out there that could support her and that her family wasn't complete until she had her back. And now their sisters are in touch, and it's amazing. So, the angels, if you're open to their help, they can help you with anything, even if it's just finding a new job or getting enough money to pay the bills. Just thank them. Instead of saying please, just say thank you, angels, for helping me with this situation, and then watch what happens.
People say, like David Hamilton, that you're startlingly accurate.
Yeah, it's so funny. David Hamilton and me have become very good friends from being in Hay House and things. But when I was first talking about writing the book, he came and had a chat with me. We were in Costa Coffee, and his angels came through, and we were chatting away and blah, blah, blah. But they told me there was something wrong with his shoe. And I says, the angels are just saying to me, what is wrong with your shoe, David? And he's like, are you taking the rep? And I was like, there's also a man called Danny here, and that was his grandfather's name. And he's like, okay, this is weird. And he says, I'm going to show you. I'm quite embarrassed about it, but I have to show you. And I said, it's your right foot. What's going on? And he lifted up his shoe, and there was a hole in the sole. And he's like, how did you know that? You were sitting down before I even arrived here. How did you know that? And I was like, the angels told me. So it was that's where he said I was startlingly accurate, because I told him some facts that nobody could have found out. Yeah.
Could we do a little something here to show that? Is there a way you tune in?
There is a way of me tuning in. Everybody, it's very important for me. There's a lot of people walking by, but when I'm speaking to you, you have 3 angels. And that is really, really amazing, because most of us have 1 or 2, but there's 3 angels with you. And I'll tell you, the one thing that I feel is that ever since you've been young, you've always had this inquisitive nature. As much as you are somebody who's very believing in this kind of thing, there's always this voice that likes to question things and look into things, and I think that's an amazing thing. But I feel maybe about 10 years ago, something really changed in your life, and this is when this angel joined you on your journey. And the third one, because I feel, and I don't know to the extent what you do in your life or anything, but I feel there's something very important that you need to do in your life as well. You've maybe not done it yet, but there's this angel really, really pushing you, and there's something very spiritual inside you that's yet to come out. And I feel like that's very important. And it's maybe not shone through yet, but you're definitely working on it. The one thing about you is you're such a perfectionist. You'll not do it until it's completely right. It needs to be 100%. And that's what I feel. So maybe that's not too evidential to viewers, but I know that the angels are in some way working with you just now, consciously and unconsciously, to try and help you shine, because there's a lot more potential in there than you even know. Definitely.
Thank you for that. Is there something that you feel is important to say to people watching right now about those times we're towards the end of 2012? People are worried. This is very much an international crowd here watching, and so is there something that you would like that you feel is important to say, or that the angels are whispering?
You know, the one thing for me, it was so funny because in my head I just keep hearing it's not the end, it's not the end. I think that 2012 and 2013 goes beyond those years, so there's definitely nothing to worry about. But I feel this shift and change in the planet is definitely an opportunity for us to become more compassionate, more loving, to think in a different way. And instead of trying to keep everything exactly as it is, be open to change, welcome change. And instead of trying to force things to happen, just allow your angels to be the wings that carry you forward. Which is a very important thing for me. Allow your angels to support you. That's what they're there for. There's no point in having an angel and not allowing them to help you. So just say, angels, thank you for being the wings that carry me forward. And that's what I would share for 2012 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Cal. I wish you a lot of fun on stage this afternoon.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here, and especially my hometown as well.
This is a big, beautiful auditorium.
Yeah, it's good. I'm really excited. In London next week too.
Yes. Oh, you'll be there.
Yeah, definitely.
Sold out, for the I Can Do It conference in London.
900 people. Wow. Thank you very much. I'm excited.
The angels definitely carried you.
Yeah, they're definitely. And that's the one thing I have to say to people is I keep my life very, very simple. And I don't go out there and do anything in particular or special. But I just say, angels, thank you for supporting me. And because I trust them so much, life just presents me with all these opportunities. Like meeting you today and being able to share this.
Yeah, very spontaneously done with innocence and play and fun.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes.
I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Thank you, my beautiful angels out there. Love you guys. Bye.
It was probably far too young when I look back at it now, but it was definitely part of what I call my training. You know, it was that moment where I needed to be out there very young to kind of get a taste for it. But I did, in between then and now, have a 2-year break where I studied music, just to kind of bring myself back as well.
I heard you're a DJ too?
Yeah, I DJ house music as well. I DJ in Glasgow and different places.
So how does that fit with the angel readings?
It doesn't really fit. I think that's the coolest thing about it. It was more, my parents decided that I needed to have something to ground me. And my dad was a DJ as well. And he just said, why don't you go and study?
Hello, my Jessica creators. Lilu here. I'm in Glasgow, in Scotland today at the I Can Do It conference with Kyle. Hello, Kyle.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm excited that we were able to make this happen and sit down and have this conversation on angels.
Yeah, and a very cool industrial background as well. So it works, definitely.
I've noticed that you like this industrial look because I've seen the cover of your book.
Yeah.
That is called The Angel Whisperer because you are an angel whisperer.
Yes, yeah, or the Angel Whisperer in the UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm from a shipbuilding town, so the industrial looks very important to my roots. For me, definitely, I like to kind of push it out there.
I love the accent.
Oh, thank you very much. I like yours as well.
Thank you. You were considered and you as the youngest UK professional, psychic professional at 16. You were already super young.
It was very young in Barry, and I was paralysed in a wheelchair as well. So to make things easier for my mum, who was the carer for both of us, we shared a wheelchair. I sat in her lap, and everywhere she went, I went too. And we had this almost soulmate bond, this amazing bond. And the evening that she was moving home to heaven, a neighbour was looking after me, and I woke up with her tickling my back. And my health naturally improved, whereas hers declined and she had to go home, as I call it home. But she tickled my back for the night, and when I told my parents about it the next morning, it was a complete mystery how that I seen my music for a while and see how you get on. And it was really good for me because it helped me find myself so that then I could help others do that as well.
So this happened all to you at a very early age because at the age of 4, you all of a sudden start having conversation with angels, and this is related to your grandma. Could you explain us? Because this is very, very young.
Yeah, so the first experience with heaven for me was more when I was 4. My grandmother and I had this amazing connection. She had cancer, lymphoma, believe it or not, we heard about yesterday, and she was in a wheelchair. And at the same time, I contracted a virus called